could be the first of many. Hopefully, the storm will go somewhere else and we won't have to have any more of these. But we're praying for the best, but preparing for the worst. We've had a meeting of the department heads of the major agencies and departments in Mississippi that have significant roles in disaster assistance. And the meeting went well. Clearly, people are prepared. People are very serious about this. Marcia and I were on the coast earlier today and yesterday, and I can say that the anxiety on the coast is palpable. You can cut it with a knife. People are very, very serious, and I want Mississippians to know that the state takes this very seriously, as do our federal partners and our local partners. As you know, earlier in the week I declared an emergency declaration which allowed the National Guard and some other departments and agencies to take action in order to be able to fully prepare in case we have a major natural disaster. Today I have made a request of the President, to the President, for him to declare a federal disaster for Mississippi, which allows Mississippi to be reimbursed for a percentage of the costs that state and local government incur to prepare for the disaster. I have mobilized the National Guard, and they are fully up and running, and General Freeman is here, and will be available to you if you have any questions about that. We have already started to see some evacuation. Today, I announced a mandatory evacuation in Harrison and Hancock counties for those people who live in FEMA trailers, whether they're travel trailers or mobile homes. Also for Mississippi cottages that sit in the flood zone. Jackson County, which has a smaller number of people so situated and has enough capacity in shelters in Jackson County to accommodate all those people, will not mandate evacuation until Monday because they don't have to get people out and move as far. The State Department of Education, working with MEMA and other partners, will be evacuating people from the coast that do not have transportation. And those announcements, you can get the details from Mike Womack, the head of MEMA. The most important things that I would say to people who are watching this or read your publication: don't panic, but take advantage of this opportunity to get prepared. Gustav is anticipated to be a major storm, Category 3 hurricane or more. While nobody can predict with accuracy this far out where it will make landfall, most of the models have centered the probability on the Louisiana Gulf Coast, and there have been wobbles back and forth within a few miles one way or the other. But if the eye of the storm hits the Louisiana Gulf Coast, that can cause tremendous damage in Mississippi. The National Hurricane Center today, in a conference call with all the states in the Gulf South, predicted the storm surge could be 15 to 25 feet. And all of us who've been through hurricanes understand that the way they rotate, with the winds moving in the northeast quadrant from east to west and south to north, means that the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and particularly the area around the Pearl River, where the Pearl River enters the Gulf, and Louisiana and Mississippi come together to form a right angle, that this area is subject to a big surge of water piling up in that corner because it doesn't have where to go. We hope that won't happen again, but we have to take it seriously. The best things people can do, if you live on the coast, particularly in a low-lying area, in a home or trailer or structure that's not real strong, is to evacuate. Evacuate as early as practical. We have a 3-day weekend. One blessing about this is that we have a 3-day weekend before the storm is anticipated to make for the eye to make landfall. If you're gonna evacuate, think about how you're gonna get there, where you're gonna go, and tell somebody where you are, so that if the worst happens, we will be able to find people and not have people risking their lives looking for somebody that's in Kosciuszko or Greenwood. If you're not going to evacuate, prepare for at least 3 days of sustaining yourself. No government is big enough to take care of everything for everybody all the time. We had people after Katrina who were not hurt, but were not found for 3 days because the roads were closed and they lived in isolated areas, and those people had to take care of themselves for 3 days. So in terms of water, food, don't forget your medicine, flashlights, lights that work without electricity or work on batteries, particularly weather radio or some other kind of radio that operates on batteries so that you can get information. All of those things and more people need to be thinking about and accumulating. We have had some run on gasoline purchases. We are advised by the terminals and the distributors that there is plenty of gasoline, that the individual stations that have run out of gasoline will be replenished quickly, that there's not a structural supply problem for gasoline in Mississippi, but you may go to a place that doesn't have any, but it'll probably have some within hours or certainly the next day. The last thing is that people who live inland, north of Hattiesburg, if you have family or friends or co-workers on the coast that could stay with you, this would be a good time to invite them to come stay, because we're going to have lots of hotels and motels that are full. The governor of Louisiana and the mayor of New Orleans will be making announcements today and tomorrow that I think will ensure that there's a large volume of traffic that comes into our state of Louisiana, as well as people who come from the coast. I thought one of the best things since I've been governor for our people was when Ivan came. So many families opened their homes to their former neighbors, their cousins, their college roommate, and if you drive down the street in any town in Mississippi that weekend, and you'd see cars with Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson County tags, and now would be a good time for people to do that for their neighbors again. As always, we're going to pray for the best, prepare for the worst. And with that, we'd be glad to take any questions of anybody up here. Bert. We do anticipate that Louisiana will ask for contraflow. Governor Jindal and I have talked about it. However, they haven't asked for it yet. But Mississippi will grant contraflow to Louisiana when they ask for it. As you may remember, Bert, our agreement is that they'll give us a certain amount of notice, 7 hours minimum, and then we will give them contraflow for 24 hours. Contraflow, for those of you who haven't done this before, means that we turn all the lanes of Interstate 55 and Interstate 59 to run north, so that the southbound lanes will run north for a period of 24 hours. But when that 24 hours will start, hadn't been decided. I suspect tomorrow Louisiana will make that specific request, and then we'll have an announcement that it will start sometime tomorrow or as late as Sunday. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of these hotels in this area are booked up, and given the large amount of traffic that will be heading this way, do you anticipate having to open up the Coliseum with the shelter?
Well, I'm going to let Mike Womack talk about shelter and sheltering. So, Mike, you want to see?
If the storm continues on the current track, we may have to open the Coliseum as early as tomorrow night. There's also many other facilities in the Jackson area. City Meridian, City of Vicksburg, all these locations could open for sheltering. And we can open shelters as far north as Suffolk County if need be. But yes, it's a very good possibility. Maybe tomorrow evening or Sunday.
What about for Pat? Another question for you. What about for Pat? You know, people have asked about that as well. Are there any shelters for them?
Yeah, the state veterinarian's office has done a great job in organizing pet shelters, many of them co-located with our general population shelters. They're going to use a portion of the fairground facilities to have a co-located pet shelter in the area of the Coliseum. But many of the other shelters are trying to accommodate the pets, so they can't go into the general population shelters, but they will be sheltered nearby.
Accommodating.
Usually about 2,000, 2,500.
Children, as far as Tupelo are already filling up, is there any idea how many people have already left the cove?
There is no way of estimating it right now. MDOT could probably, I don't think they've even turned on the traffic counters yet, but we put the message out early on. If you want to avoid the rush, so to speak, and you know you're going to evacuate anyway, go ahead and get you a nice hotel room and not have to worry about it.
You know, before Katrina, when we asked for evacuation leave, a lot of people were reticent. At Ivan, they had boarded up their houses and evacuated, nothing happened. Dennis, they boarded up their houses and evacuated, nothing happened. After Katrina, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of people hanging around. They've seen this story, and so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of people have evacuated as early as possible. We've seen this storm coming for a few days, and and that's good. That's one way to be safe, is to evacuate. I cannot. That's been discussed in the meeting that we had today, but I don't have anything to tell you about that other than, as I understand it at this point, USM has a football game in Hattiesburg Saturday night at 6 o'clock, Bill? At 6 o'clock. There's certainly nothing to announce here about that. Whether there will be in the future is something I can't.
Started making that call, whether it's cancel.
University of Southern Mississippi will be in charge of making that call.
What do you make of the spiking gas prices that have been occurring across the state, specifically in the metro area?
I've heard reports of that. Heard reports of service stations run out of gas. As you know, in my emergency order, I included a provision that's an anti price gouging provision that's allowed by law. We initially did that for the south half of the state. Today we've expanded to the entire state so that there's no confusion about it. I'll simply say this. I don't have any of the facts about a single instance, so I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything or defend anybody of anything, but I will note that sometimes this summer when gas was going toward $4 a barrel, $4 a gallon, that it went up 15 or 20 cents a day, and it wasn't a hurricane out in the Gulf. So I'm not going to prejudge that, except I have put in place the law that allows price gouging to be those who commit price gouging to be pursued vigorously, and the authority to do that lies with the Attorney General's office.
The Coliseum can hold up 2,000, 2,500. How much volume in the Jackson Metro? How many people can take on the whole area? Are there other shelters? What would be the?
There are numerous other shelters, but I will have someone get back with you on the exact numbers in the greater Jackson area. But again, we don't need to focus just on Jackson. I Meridian has always done a great job in assisting us. We've even got agreements with the Choctaws and using some of their facilities as well. So there's plenty of shelter capacity. It may not be in the Jackson area, so people may need to anticipate having to go a little bit further north.
Right. Well, statewide, how many shelters could potentially be open by the end of the weekend?
That's another one that I just don't have off the top of my head. We open shelters as needed. We could literally have hundreds of shelters statewide like we did in Katrina. But it's based on a demand basis. As they start filling up, we work with the Department of Human Services and the Red Cross. We open up shelters.
Just talking about how the Department of Education is working with you to transport people to CID.
Well, thank you, Governor. They're doing a super job for us. Dr. Hank Downs has gotten his team working with the local school districts. Jackson School District is actually providing the bulk of the buses early on, and then we have other school districts that are going to contribute others to the operation as needed. But they will, local governments down on the coast, using their own assets, some school districts, in some cases of public transportation, will pick up the citizens, take them to a central point, and then buses from central Mississippi will go down and pick them up. But it's all being run by the Department of Education with cooperation. The National Guard's doing the notifications. The Department of Health has a big part in the special needs population. And I already talked about the state veterinarian's office.
Supplies, it's not just gas, but, you know, the battery, you know, there's some of the essential things that people have to buy. Some stores that we have been to are running low.
I've got great confidence in the American Free Enterprise System. And just like the governor said, while these big retailers may be out of a commodity right now, I bet you within 24 hours they're going to restock.
I would remind you that brings the point. People shouldn't wait until there's a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico to buy batteries and a portable radio that runs on batteries. I hope and believe, as Mike Womack does, that our distribution system, our free enterprise system will provide this. But hopefully people will remember that you ought to do this like in June before we really get into serious hurricane season.
This storm is not even in the Gulf yet, and yet the whole entire Gulf Coast region is in panic. I mean,
well, I wouldn't say the coast is in panic. I think that's a gross exaggeration. People are anxious about this. This brings back 3 weeks to the day some very hard memories of things that happened to people, loved ones that they lost, property that they'll never recover. So it doesn't surprise me that the anxiety level is high. This is the first, by God's grace, this is the first tropical storm to threaten the coast since Katrina. And Lord, I don't know what we'd have done if we'd have had one in 2006 or when we had 40-something thousand travel trailers on the coast. Today we got 2,800. But people take it very seriously. And people are not panicking, but people are preparing.
Have there been any changes, or has the state's emergency plan been tweaked after Katrina?
Oh, there's been lots of changes. And frankly, we had a very good plan before Katrina. And while we couldn't execute it according to the plan because of the utter obliteration of communications, water, sewer, power, roads, the fact of the matter is that having a good plan in 2005 made it much easier for people to adapt, to be flexible, to do something in a different way because they understood where we were trying to get to. But yes, there's been a lot that's been tweaked. Some of it's been grossly improved. Mike Parker is with us, who's the federal coordinating officer from FEMA. They've made very major improvements in their logistical system, which didn't work in 2005, and they've really gone to bat to get that up. So yeah, there've been a lot of major changes. Thank y'all. We'll continue to try to keep you informed as we go along.
I just have one more, Governor. I apologize. The National Guard, have they been officially state activated? And how many troops are there on the ground?
We have, and we implemented our plan today. We actually, our operations center has been operational now for 48 hours. We brought on 10% of our 1,500 allotted as of today. In the morning, we'll have 1,500 troops headed to the Gulf Coast. They will be pre-positioned all along the lower 3 counties. And on Saturday, about 12 o'clock, on or before 12 o'clock, we will start our knock-knock mission. And that will take place all day Saturday and into Sunday until we finish. We'll be knocking on FEMA trailers and cottages and any other things that we need to do and placing pamphlets there if they're not home. And then we will retreat back in anticipation of the storm.
Hopefully, depending on the size of the storm, in the 3 coast counties, if they have to withdraw because of the magnitude of the storm, it'll only be back into the 3 counties above that, Pearl River, Stone, and George counties. So, and the knock-knock mission, so you'll know, is to go to every one of these dwellings to tell the people that they have to evacuate and how, and to give them information. Thank you.
Abraham Lincoln, the man who rises from obscurity to become the 16th American president, and arguably its finest.
Lincoln is consistently ranked by historians as the greatest American president.
But his sudden assassination leads to the creation of a legend that obscures his true personality. Through in-depth historical, psychological, and medical analysis, his character is laid bare, and the extraordinary impact of his early life revealed as we open the mystery files on Abraham Lincoln. Just 5 months after he is elected president for the second time, Abraham Lincoln goes out to this theater to watch a play. It is April 14th, 1865, Good Friday. Almost 2 hours into the performance, John Wilkes Booth creeps into the presidential box and shoots Lincoln in the back of the head. Lincoln dies the next morning, becoming the first U.S. president ever to be assassinated. Lincoln author Harold Holzer.
On Easter Sunday, pulpits around the country are echoing with sermons comparing Lincoln to Jesus. He's died for the nation's sins. It creates the most powerful resonance. It elevates Lincoln into a mythical secular saint immediately.
In Washington, D.C. sits the magnificent Lincoln Memorial, a vast structure in granite, marble, and limestone dedicated to this ultimate American icon. The man who emancipated the American black slaves, and who, by winning the Civil War, prevented the United States from breaking apart. James McPherson is one of the world's leading Lincoln scholars.
Being assassinated when he was, in a moment of victory, made it possible to forget all of the criticism of him, the failures and frustrations of the warriors, and to see only the martyr.
Lincoln's life becomes romanticized, and the complexities of his character and motivations are lost. Modern investigation, however, has uncovered a broader picture of this great leader, an often ruthless man driven to succeed in the traditions of the American dream, whose actions in later life stem from the poor beginnings from which he rose. Lincoln's first home is in Kentucky, on Sinking Spring Farm.
He quite literally was born in a log cabin on the frontier to a family of self-sufficient dirt farmers.
And his upbringing is basic. His education, extremely limited.
He was always a little bit embarrassed about his lack of education. When Lincoln goes to Congress, he's given a questionnaire to fill out, listing his past achievements. And under the heading Education, he writes deficient. Sort of a joke, but I think it reveals a sense of regret that he had barely a year's schooling.
But experts believe he later turns what appears to be a disadvantaged childhood into a tool for success during his political campaigns.
He said basically, I'm humble Abraham Lincoln. My politics are short and simple, like the old woman's dance. Just a great line.
The reality, of course, is very different.
No one who achieved what he achieved, who rose from the obscurity from which he rose, could have been as self-deprecating and humble as Abraham Lincoln professed to be. His artifice was to make fun of himself. It masked usefully the complexities of a brilliant mind.
His drive and ambition will become the secret of Lincoln's success. And historians believe it comes from the very background Lincoln uses to hide it. Historian Michael Burlingame has been investigating the psychology behind Lincoln's early life.
Well, the origins of Lincoln's ambition, I think, are rooted in a sense of inferiority. That Lincoln was quite self-conscious about being a country bumpkin. Didn't want to be a farmer as his father was. He didn't want to be a carpenter as his father was. He didn't want to live in the rural areas as his father did. So his initial ambition was to leave that world.
He achieves this through reading extensively.
He was one of the great autodidacts when it came to education. He taught himself an astonishing amount.
Through applying this acquired knowledge, he escapes his rural beginnings and enters politics. But his pursuit of public life is not purely for altruistic reasons. As Burlingame reveals, his motivations appear much more personal.
His ambition, I think, at that time was not so much focused on a particular ideology, but it was just winning popularity. And then this is not the case just with Lincoln, but many people go into political life as a way of enhancing their sense of self-esteem.
Lincoln's first political triumph comes early, at the age of 25. He's elected to the Illinois State Legislature in 1834, and he goes on to run a successful legal practice as well. But 25 years before becoming president, this young Lincoln was far from a statesman.
The most unattractive quality in Lincoln that I've discovered is a tendency on his part as a young man, as a young politician, to engage in cruelty. That is, frontier politics, as it was practiced in his day, involved a great deal of personal ridicule and sarcasm. In his 20s and his 30s, he tended to be a low-road politician.
Lincoln uses his quick-wittedness and humor to caricature his opponents, causing hilarity and embarrassment in equal measure. While such tactics may prove very effective in a frontier state like Illinois, they were hardly suitable for the presidency. At some point in his adult life, Lincoln clearly changes. Historians believe that one event contributes greatly to the shift in Lincoln's behavior and personality.
Once he so insulted a political opponent that he was challenged to a duel.
In 1842, James Shields, a victim of some of Lincoln's cutting remarks, calls for a physical contest to defend his honor.
Lincoln, as the challenged party, was able to choose weapons, and the gentleman who challenged him to a duel was much shorter than Lincoln, and Lincoln specified that the duel be fought with swords, that it would be fought in a limited space in which he could not move out of, and a dividing line which they could not cross. So Lincoln could have stood on his side of the dividing line and turned his opponent into steak tartare with his sword while the opponent flailed at him and was unable to reach him.
Under these terms, Shields stands little chance of victory. But at the last moment, wiser heads managed to talk them out of it, and Lincoln apologizes. The incident leaves a lasting impression.
I think Lincoln learned something from that. I think Lincoln recognized that he needed to be more responsible in his dealings with political opponents. And that was an experience that led into greater maturity in his public and I think probably to some degree in his private life as well.
In the aftermath of the duel incident, Lincoln undergoes a period of great personal growth. At the age of 40, he leaves mainstream politics for 5 years.
During that period, which seems on the surface of it to be very uneventful, beneath the surface, Lincoln went through a tremendous period of psychological growth and became a high-road statesman rather than a low-road political hack.
His return to politics and the reasons behind that comeback again reveal the deep-rooted effect his early life has on his political and personal viewpoints.
And what brought him back in 1854 was the Kansas-Nebraska Act.
The U.S. Congress passes an act that recognizes the new territories of Kansas and Nebraska. It also allows settlers in these regions to choose whether or not to own slaves. Lincoln feels compelled to step back into politics. The speeches he gives in opposition to the act show how far Lincoln's personal development had come since that day of the duel over 10 years ago.
Right now we're in the Hall of Representatives at the old state capitol in Springfield. Lincoln's celebrated House Divided speech in June of 1858 was delivered in this very hall at the podium just behind us here. It was the opening paragraphs in which he said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect..." it will cease to be divided.
From speeches like these, his eloquence and intellectual strength lifts his political profile to the national level.
So it established Lincoln's credentials as a very powerful spokesman for the anti-slavery cause, and he became an even more prominent national figure and really helped to make him president.
This is the declaration that spurs Lincoln onto the presidency, and it shows a marked shift in his personal motivations.
His ambition then is not just to achieve fame and applause, but also to help do something that would alleviate the suffering of the slaves and to vindicate the honor of the country.
Through extensive research, Burlingame has uncovered what he believes is the root of Lincoln's anti-slavery position.
In his speeches, he emphasized not so much the traditional arguments that abolitionists made. Instead, he emphasizes again and again and again that it's an outrage that somebody goes out and works in the hot sun all day and somebody else derives all the profits.
Again, it appears Lincoln's early experiences in life are shaping his future actions.
I connected that with the way he was treated by his father. When Lincoln was a young man, an adolescent, his father would rent him out to neighbors, and he would dig up stumps and chop down trees and do other really backbreaking farm work, and he might make 25 cents a day.
The law stated the earnings of any child under the age of 21 belonged to the child's father.
resented the fact that he was yanked out of school and forced by his father to go and work for others. And that he unconsciously then identified himself with the slaves and identified his father with the slaveholders.
Lincoln's anti-slavery stance also reflects what he has personally achieved in rising from his humble beginnings.
Lincoln himself said it many times that slavery was an anomaly in a society that believed in the rights of all men to get ahead. Because slaves were, of course, as Lincoln put it, fatally fixed in that condition for life. They had no hope of getting ahead.
This strong conviction from his early years would stay with him throughout his life. And his opposition campaign would take him to the center of national politics. On November 6, 1860, Lincoln wins a surprise victory to become the 16th American president. His support comes entirely from the slave slave-free states of the North. The states in the South rely on slavery, and many do not even put his name on the ballot paper. Lincoln's actions in the face of the Civil War that ensues would place him in many history books as the greatest American president. But he could only have achieved such status through extraordinary determination and character. Investigation of the more personal side of his presidency reveals just how impressive his self-control was. In 1862, Lincoln's son, William, dies, apparently of typhoid fever. It throws Lincoln into a depression, a condition that had plagued his earlier years.
Well, Lincoln's depressions were on two occasions extremely severe. When his sweetheart dies, Anne Rutledge, Lincoln goes into a profound depression, and his friends are worried that he would kill himself.
Anne Rutledge, believed by many to be his first love, died in 1835 when Lincoln was just 26 years old. The specter of depression remains over him for the rest of his life.
He was a man of melancholy, who, especially in his younger years, had suffered from depression and went through times of depression as President of the United States, too.
Combating such a condition is difficult, but recent evidence suggests Lincoln is compounding the problem in the early stages of his presidency. Lincoln is taking something called Blue Mass, a strong medication designed to ease his melancholy. Dr. Norbert Hirshhorn believes this irritability could be indicative of something more serious.
It became more and more clear to me that as a physician, that if a man like this comes to me saying, I take Blue Mass, and all his friends and relatives come and say when he's behaving really erratically, he loses his temper, he's very sensitive, he's got a tremor when he's under stress, I would say, I think this could be mercury poisoning.
Blue Mass pills are known to contain mercury. Dr. Hirshhorn had the pills recreated and tested to see the level of mercury that would be absorbed on consumption.
6 grams.
Today, mercury is known to be a highly toxic substance and is handled with great care, but in the 19th century, it is regularly used in medication. Dr. Hirshhorn's results are unequivocal.
We find that under any reasonable doses that he could have been taking, he's absorbing a lot of mercury. The amounts are 1,000 times more than what is now allowed to be absorbed by our health authorities.
When he is elected president, Lincoln is slowly poisoning himself. However, after 5 months in office, he appears to recognize the side effects and stops.
His partner, John Stewart, his ex-law partner, John Stewart, says later on that Lincoln told him that he stopped the pills because they made him cross.
It shows his great determination.
The striking thing about Lincoln as president is not that he was psychologically wounded or debilitated by his tendency toward depression. The remarkable thing is the psychological strength that he manifested during that period.
The ability to examine, learn, adapt, and grow characterizes Lincoln throughout his life and marks him out for greatness. In his early political career, Lincoln stands against racial equality.
Hi, neighbor. Today we're going to visit my school for the very first time. And then we're going to my doctor's office to see Dr. Anna. Will you come with me? Okay, let's go. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
It's Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, a land of make-believe. Won't you ride along with me? It's Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, so much to do, so much to see. Won't you ride along with me? I've got lots of friends for you and me. In this land of make-believe, a friendly face on every street, just waiting to greet you. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Daniel Tiger's neighborhood.
Hi, neighbor. Come on in. Today I'm going to visit my new school. Do you go to school? I'm going to see what my new school will be like. Will you come with me? I'm feeling a little nervous.
Ugga mugga, Daniel Tiger. Are you ready to go see your new school?
Yes. I mean, no.
No? You know what I always say? When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
When we do something new, like go to school, let's talk about what we'll do. So let's talk. Will we play with blocks?
Oh, yes. Lots of blocks at school.
But I'll bring my red block, just in case.
Just in case. What else?
Will we read books at school?
Oh, yes. Your teacher will read all sorts of books.
Or maybe I should bring my favorite Tiggy, the Adventure Tiger book. Just in case.
Huh, good idea.
My Tiggy, because he'd be lonely here without me. There you go, Tiggy. Oh, and my drum. But I'm boom. Ready?
Goodness, I hope your backpack isn't too heavy.
Don't worry, I'm big and strong. Grr. Hello, trolley. Heavy.
That is heavy. Buckle up.
Can you take us to school, trolley? We're off to school, 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 school. Won't you ride along with me? Ride along. Won't you ride along with me? Mom, what do you think Teacher Harriet is like?
Teacher Harriet is nice and smart, and she plays the guitar.
I like music too.
And she knows how to take good care of you. Oh, here we are at the neighborhood school.
Thanks for the ride, Jolly. Wow. I'm happy that you've come to visit the school with me.
Hello, Mrs. Tiger. Hi, Teacher Harriet. Uh-oh, did you forget to bring Daniel Tiger to school with you?
Teacher Harriet, I'm right here.
Oh, there you are, Daniel. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Why don't you take a look around? Explore a little.
Okay. I see toys and they have brushes and paint. I love painting. Hey, do you want to make believe with me? Let's make believe that everything in the classroom says hello.
Welcome to the school. We hope you come and play. Lots and lots of music all throughout the day. Hello, Daniel. We hope you come with us. Build with us the building blocks.
Hello, Daniel. We can have some fun. Paint until the day is done.
Hello, Daniel. We've got just what you need.
Adventure books,
Tiger books. So come along and read. Welcome to school. Daniel Tiger.
Wasn't that terrific?
Daniel, I need to get the classroom ready for when school starts. Will you be my helper?
I do like helping. Will you help too? Great.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
I know that song.
The first thing we do in school is music time. At music time, we learn and play with instruments. Will you help me test out the instruments to see if they work?
Okay. Let's try these instruments out.
Nice moves.
A drum. Drum with me. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, this is just like my drum. Mom, I don't need my drum at school. School has one. Here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And it plays. Great.
Good. Next at school, we have reading time. Would you like to go to the reading area? See if you can find a book you like.
Look at all the books at school. Look. There's a Tiger the Adventure Tiger book at school. I guess I won't need my Tiger the Adventure Tiger book. Here, Mom.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
thanks, Daniel. Now, next at school, we go to the block corner to build. Shall we?
Okay.
Okay, helper Daniel. I need to know if these blocks are good for building.
I'm a good builder. Hello, blocks. We're going to build with you now. Let's build a really tall tower, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Uh-oh.
Ooh, another block?
Yes, a red one. 11. You see that red block? School has my favorite red block. Don't need my red block at school.
Ooh,
Thank you. Look, it's a skyscraper.
it is tall. Nice work. The blocks are good for building. Check.
Anything else I can help with?
Daniel, you can help me.
Sorry, Mom.
No problem. I'm happy that school has everything you need to learn and play.
Yeah, it does. Except Tiggy. School doesn't have a Tiggy. I don't want to be at school without Tiggy.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do. Tiggy, would you want to come to school with Daniel? At school, we play with instruments.
And we box and build with blocks. Tiggy says yes. Thanks, Teacher Harriet.
You are welcome, Daniel Tiger.
When I go to school, what will I do? We'll learn and play all day.
When we do something new,
let's talk about what we'll do. When I go to the doctor, what will she do?
She'll take a look at you and make sure you've grown a step or two.
when we do something new,
let's talk about what we'll do. When you cut my hair, will it hurt my head?
It won't hurt at all, just might tickle instead.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do. Mom, can I come back to school?
Yes, of course you can come back to school.
I'm glad you like school, and thank you for being my helper.
You're welcome.
Oh, hello, Lady Elaine.
Hi, Miss Elena. Hiya, Daniel. I'm nervous about school. When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do. You'll do block time at school and reading time and music time? Yes, that was my favorite. That sounds great. Thanks, Toots. I'm excited, yeah! Visiting my new school made me feel a lot better about going. I'm glad you were there with me. Ugga mugga. Hi, neighbor. This is my friend Sadie, and she's taking us to visit her school. Sadie's mom drops her off at school, but she'll be back to pick her up at the end of the day, just like my mom. Sadie likes to paint and do art projects at school. She also gets to pick her favorite book and have reading time. You have to be quiet for reading. Before snack time, Sadie washes her hands. All clean. Pretzels are her favorite snack. I like pretzels too. After snack, Sadie works on some puzzles. And draws pictures with her teacher. At the end of the day, Sadie's mom comes to pick her up from school. It's always terrific when Mom comes back. Thanks for showing us your school, Sadie. Bye. Hi, neighbor. I'm Dr. Daniel today. See my doctor coat? I have more doctor stuff. Wanna see? Okay. Here's my doctor bag. Hi, Tiggy. I'm Dr. Daniel.
Oh, excuse me, Doctor. Have you seen my little tiger, Daniel?
Mom, I'm not really a doctor. I'm your little tiger.
Oh, good. Ugga mugga.
Ugga mugga.
Funny that you're playing doctor.
Why?
Because that's where we're going today. To the doctor for your checkup.
But why do I have to go? I don't feel sick.
You are a healthy and strong tiger.
Grrr.
You go to the doctor when you're sick, but it's even more important to go for a checkup when you're healthy.
What's a checkup?
A checkup is when the doctor will check you out so that you stay healthy and strong.
Grrr. But it's just one stripe scared about going to the doctor's office.
Remember, when we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
When we do something new, like go to the doctor, let's talk about what we'll do. Okay, what will I do at the checkup?
Well, first, you'll wait in the waiting room. I remember you like the waiting room. It has a fish tank.
Oh yeah, I remember it had a fish tank like ours.
Books. And a few toys.
Great. What happens after the waiting room, Mom?
Well, Dr. Anna will check you out. She'll check your heart, and then she'll check your eyes, ears.
1 ear, 2 ear.
That's right. And then she'll look at your throat to make sure it's healthy. Yes, just like that.
Wait a sec, Mom. Tiny wants to know. Will I have to get a shot today?
No, you do not have to get a shot today.
Ooh. Can Tiggy get a checkup too?
Yes, Tiggy can get a checkup too.
And I want to take our pictures we drew too. It's like a book.
Good idea.
Thanks. I'm ready to go now.
Let's go.
Hi, Charlie. Tiggy and I have a checkup today with Dr. Anna.
Buckle up.
It's time for a checkup, so we're off to the doctor's office. Won't you ride along with me? Ride along. Won't you ride along with me?
Here we are at Dr. Anna's office.
Hey! The waiting room looks just like the picture we drew in my book.
Yes, and they call this the waiting room because now we have to...
Wait!
Yep. Wait in the waiting room.
The fish tank! Hi, fishies! Rup, rup, rup. Hey! Do you want to make believe with me while we're waiting? Let's make believe that the fish are going to see the doctor too.
This is the doctor's office song. Listen to the doctor, will keep you strong. So come with us and sing along. Healthy eyes so you can see. See, what's in front of me? Healthy throat and healthy ears. You can see and you can hear. So visit your doctor every year.
Wasn't that terrific?
Daniel Tiger and... oh, Tiggy Tiger.
Right here.
Hi, Daniel. I'm Dr. Anna, and you must be Tiggy. Okay, follow me. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's get you all checked out. And I know the doctor's office feels new to you. When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
Hey, that's what my mom said. So, what will you do first?
Well, first, I will listen to your heartbeat with my stethoscope.
Stethoscope?
Yes, the stethoscope helps me to hear your heartbeat.
Tiggy says he wants to go first.
Oh, okay. Thump, thump, thump. Nice heart, Tiggy. And now, Daniel. Oh, your heart is strong and healthy. Daniel, do you want to hear your own heart with the stethoscope?
Yeah! This is cool. Grr! My heart sounds like this. Thumpity thump. Wanna listen? Wow! Terrific! When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do. So, Dr. Anna, what will you check out next?
I'm going to use my otoscope to check your ears.
Otoscope? Oh, yeah! Mommy drew a picture of one of those in my book.
That's helpful. Very nice ears, Tiggy. Okay, now, Daniel.
The otoscope tickles a little.
Oh, it does. I'm going to check your eyes. Follow my finger. Well, Daniel, your eyes and ears are clear and healthy. Next, I'm going to check your throat.
Oh, I remember that.
Now, open wide. Healthy. And Tiggy, well, you have some nice stuffing. Next, I'm going to check your weight on a scale and measure you with a ruler. Stand up over here, please.
Okay. Tiggy first, though.
Tiggy is a healthy weight and 3 stripes tall. And you, Daniel? Oh, you are a healthy weight and 8 stripes tall. But that's 2 stripes taller than last year.
Terrific! I want to be as tall as my dad. My dad is like 100 stripes tall.
That is tall. I bet he eats lots of fruits and veggies.
He does. We both like apples and broccoli.
Me too. Daniel and Tiggy, you are both done with your checkup, and you get a heart sticker for being such good patients.
Terrific! Thanks, Dr. Anna.
Thanks, Dr. Anna.
Hi-o. Hi, X.
Hi-o. Hello, Daniel. I'm here for my checkup. Don't worry, yo. I just had my checkup. What was it like? Here, read the book I made with my mom. It's gonna be okay. Ooh, a book? You made a book? I love books. Thanks, Daniel. Woohoo! Sure, bye. Hi, Charlie. I'm nice and healthy, and so is Tiggy.
Going to the doctor is good for you when you're sick or for a checkup too.
What can't you see inside my eyes and my ears?
Your eyes and ears looked healthy and clear.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
When she checked my heartbeat, what did she hear?
I heard a thump, 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 'cause your heart bounds so strong, my dear.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
When I stepped on the scale, was I too small?
You weren't small at all. You were 8 stripes tall.
Going to the doctor is good for you when you're sick or for a checkup too.
Thanks for coming with me and Tiggy for a checkup at the doctor's office. Agamaga.
It's such a good feeling to play with family and friends. It's such a happy feeling when they lend you a hand. You wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, feeling you know
that I'll be back when the day is new. And I'll have more ideas for you. And you you I like. Hi, neighbor. This is my friend Will, and he's going to the doctor's office to get a checkup. When you go to the doctor's office, you have to wait in the waiting room first.
Will, come on in. It's great to see you.
Then, the nurse calls you in to get weighed.
When we do something new, let's talk about what we'll do.
And measured. Will is getting as big as his dad. The nurse is checking Will's eyes.
Look down here. And cover your other eye. Excellent.
Sometimes you have to wait some more. There's a lot of waiting.
Hi, Will. How are you?
I'm Dr. Ryan. You're here for your checkup today? When the doctor comes in, she checks Will's ears and his eyes. And his heart, too. It sounds like a drum. Now she's checking his tummy. The doctor checks your back to make sure you're growing up straight and tall. Looks like Will is healthy and strong. Thanks for letting us come to the doctor's office, Will.